So I'll try not to bore you because it's getting close to lunchtime. So I'll tell you about just a little bit about a topic that seems to be of interest to a lot of people these days is work plans when we're doing validations. So Transport Canada has been doing work plans on foreign validations for the last 20 years. So just to give you an idea. So this presentation, I can't claim it's mine. It was done by my previous boss to the certification management team in 2014. So, validation milestones. So I'm going to skip through a lot of this because it's repetitive. We receive an application. So we form a team. We conduct our level of review. Review of the cert basis. We get an initial briefing from the applicant. So he comes across, gives us a detailed briefing. And from that review of the cert basis, we formulate what we want to see, our level of review, or LOI. And we develop a work plan. So that work plan details to the applicant and to the foreign authority what Transport Canada is going to come and look at in detail. Now, if we have a whole team of 10, 15 people, not those 10, 15 people go on a validation visit. They may be reviewing a couple of reports back at home, and that's their LOI complete. So we give maximum credit to the foreign authority and what they've done. So we don't want to duplicate the work, and that's the whole aim of the authorities harmonizing is we're not going to duplicate work. So we end up with these, validation items and our LOI, level of involvement, and that's what the OEM receives. He knows where we're coming for, he knows the details we're going to get into, including flight tests or any witnessing of any test that the applicant might invite us to at any time. So, some factors influencing areas of our interest: cert basis, technology, means and methods of compliance, historical data, and new design standards. So we have a couple of staff instructions within Transport Canada. It details to our engineers where and what they get involved with. So the project manager, or the head of the team, consolidates all the work plans, and he deals with the applicant and the foreign authority to consolidate those work plans. It's a big list of what we're going to come and work from. So, our documentation, we have issued papers, concern papers, specialist reports, and we end up writing a decision record at the end of it. So the difference there between ourselves and the FAA, we have concern papers. So an issue paper is where we address additional airworthiness requirements, regulations, and I'll go into those later. Concern papers where we have the same rules, the same understanding, but we understand it slightly differently. So the concern papers are addressed to the foreign authority, not the applicant. Work plan, document the scope, the boundaries and responsibilities that we have, upfront loading of areas of interest, so you know what the applicant knows what we're coming for. There it is. A work plan is a tool for project management, validation activities in a structured manner, providing early identification of areas of interest and a roadmap for striving for clear results, i.e., we're not going on a fishing trip. So, our Canadian Airworthiness Regulations 521 contains the procedures for the issuance of a type certificate and the privileges and responsibilities of the TC holder. So there's the two staff instructions that we have on type certification of a foreign aeronautical product. And hopefully that link there's a web link there, actually works. So I mentioned before additional airworthiness requirements. So Transport Canada has some unique Part 27, Part 29 requirements over and above what the FAA and EASA have. And obviously their induction system icing. So 1093, the big word in the difference is recirculating. So in northern Canada, and I assume northern Lapland as well, they have approximately 180 different words for snow. So it can be that dry in Canada during the winter. You can't make snowballs. The snow is too dry. So if you can imagine landing in a field full of that very dry granulated snow, you're going to get a whiteout. So what do? Maybe a job for simulation. So you just got to a quarter-mile visibility. So you've got to learn to handle that, and also the aircraft, the engine intakes, and everything else. So you can get pretty nasty pretty quick. 1301-1. Now this is a unique Canadian requirement. Rotorcraft operations after ground cold soak. So you land in northern Canada, and it's minus 35 outside. You leave it outside, you've no hangar for over 10 hours. So what do you have to do to go out the following morning, start it up and fly away safely? So what you ever have to do goes in your flight manual. There's no pass or fail criteria. So if you only get to minus 20 because of your displays not warming up in time to start the aircraft, that's your restriction. So you've got to allow the aircraft to warm up, or you stick it in a hangar, or you heat it, or whatever you need to do. So I say there's no pass or fail, but whatever your limit is, that's it. Markings and placards, we like them in both imperial and metric, and operating limitations. So if we go on to Part 29, there's a couple of extra ones there. Passenger egress after rollover. So there's been a lot of rollovers with the rotorcraft. So what do you have to do to get the people out safely after it has rolled over on its side? Can you climb up the seats? We don't ask you physically to go and get an aircraft and roll on its side and try and get out. That's going to be rather expensive. But you can do that by demonstrating to us by CATIA or simulate it. And that includes if you've got an EMS operation, so you've got an EMS kit, what do you have to do to get the patient out on the litter, out of the aircraft? Can you climb up the seats that's in there? Open the door and climb out? And then the same rules, induction icing, ground cold soak. So in here, because you're all going to get the presentation, is the differences that we have. So if you're doing a design in the future, it might be worth you having Transport Canada involved for these particular requirements when you're doing your design and testing and certification. It may help you in the long run, because if you come to us at the end of it, you may have to go back and redo some testing in minus 40 degrees in northern Canada. I'm sure you'd like that in January, February. So, and I'd like to say as well, the Russian authority, FATA, has the same cold soak regulations, requirements as we do. So you try and satisfy one, you try and kind of probably satisfy both of us. Thanks very much.